When I start the journey,
Okay.
which we've done right now, it's a telepathic thing. All people are telepathic. It's not psychic. It's not working with the positive and negative energies from the lower dimensions. The telepathy I'm talking about works from the pure hue that comprises you as an Atma and the omnipresent one power out there that goes through all the planes. So we connect directly to that. And then it becomes your master teacher, source itself. It's much more than you think. And then once the secondary implants are gone, they're gone forever. You can never be implanted again by tyrants, technology, or anything else. They're gone. You still there?
I'm listening. Yeah, I just
They
my
can't,
eyes tearing.
they can't be put back. Secondary implants are not in the body or the brain. They're not under the skin like little electronic chips. Those were created on Earth by most classified people and tested on, unfortunately, tested on innocent people, abducted and stuff, even by our own military, for a time to try to undo what was done to them. First people implanted when they brought Nazi scientists into the Soviet Union, and to the U.S. after World War II. Also, these little gray guys came with them because the Nazi scientists were not smarter. They were illegally given a helping hand in technology, nuclear bomb technology, quite illegal. And of course, they lost the war. The scientists were pardoned that were murderous thugs, like Werner von Braun killed millions in Punamunda and stuff like that. But he was pardoned. He was an SS officer and put in head of NASA, and people in Russia had people put in the head of their space programs. And so we inherited these little guys, and they couldn't get them out of their base. There was a few reptilians in bases at the time, but they're not on Earth anymore. They're not even in our solar system. What I want you to know is that unknown to the UFO and extraterrestrial community at large right now, at least most of them from what I can see, they still think little grays are abducting people. They're working from the past. This hasn't occurred in 25 years. There's no reptilians in underground bases. They were moved out of here, but not by anybody on Earth. It was taken off world to keep us from destroying ourselves by beings who are not from Earth. The same reason why launch computers here and in the former Soviet Union, when they actually tried to go to nuclear war, were shut down from space. They had no say in the matter. Their launch computers were turned off. And this is something that militaries don't want to tell people because they want you to feel comfortable, be baby boomers, and rebuild a damaged world after World War II. So 35 countries decided to classify most highly anything to do with extraterrestrials. They knew about them. The United States has begun to disclose now for the first time in over 70 years. There's some laws passed, and Congress is interviewing top classified people. The panel of scientists from NASA, a panel from the National Security is NSA, very highly classified, and they're interviewing these people that are admitting, yeah, we captured craft, we got some given to us, we had bodies, there's 80 different species, races coming here. This is what they're saying now. This is good because they're people on Earth, the leaders of countries, are making decisions based on subconscious fear. That's why their decisions are always wrong and destructive. It can't be anything else. Fear is negative. It's artificially created and implanted. If you make decisions based on it, you're going to ruin this world. No question about it. So beings from elsewhere are intervening now in Earth, not to run countries, not to take over governments, but to compel people, how do I put it? Compel people to disclose by a certain time, which is started, or it will be done for them without their help. That would be very embarrassing for leaders on this planet. They know it. I'm not saying anything they don't already know. I'm sure that all of these videos we do are reviewed by them, every one of them. I don't get men in black and guys from NSA coming to my door and saying, "Oh, Mr. Lemriel, stop doing this." Because it's good for them. People that lie to people, governments, generals, They don't want to do it. It's harmful to them. They get disease, they get sick, they die like anybody else. It's not good. So what is underway now is for all life on Earth. Not just me, not just one religion, not just one government, everyone. It can't be done any other way. I wish I could tell you just how advanced humans from other worlds are. But I'm going to take you outside of Earth's atmosphere, and you'll know it for yourself. Whether you understand it yet or not, everyone leaves their body every night. They put their body in the trance state we call sleep. Like experts, like masters, without any effort, but they don't know how they're doing it or what's involved. When you put the body to sleep, certain chemicals are secreted by the pineal gland. Serotonin makes melatonin, puts the body into the trance state, so it'll run on automatic when you're gone. The pineal gland is the gland in the center of the brain through which you run the nervous system. Bodies don't run themselves. They have to have a battery and fuel. The atma hovering above that body is the battery and fuel, and without that, the body falls over dead on a doornail. Bodies are like machines. Very advanced DNA were developed by the Say-Rays billions of years ago. Billions. Humans are not new. And they did this in order to develop forms in the lower planes of time and space that could be run by atmas. They could run higher faculties of creation through them, co-creating with the source itself. Of course, all that got very perverted over billions of years, and we got stuck with a lower universe that's pretty sadistic, really. You know, it's because behind it all of us as atmas came from the source itself. And this is a place that has no time and space. This is a place we existed and exist now that was there before the worlds of time and space were even built. So you see, we're all responsible for the condition of Earth. Bitching about it won't change it. We have to wake up and co-creatively change it together. Not just people on Earth, mind you. We could never succeed at that. But with billions and billions, even trillions of other beings out there among the stars, far more advanced than we are, because their motivation has changed in recent years, it is possible to transform a planet. Not by the people on the planet. They're far too unconscious and suffering from subconscious fear amnesia, let's put it that way, to change anything in time without destroying themselves. This is known as a fact from galactic history. They know out there what we'll do. So they're not allowing us to have nuclear war. No matter what the saber rattling is from government saying, oh, we're going to bomb you, you're going to get this nuclear bomb. Do you ever notice how they don't use them? When they attempt to use them, the rockets either are blown up or malfunction, or they won't launch. So one of the things I want to share with people is that their indulgence in fear of the present and future is coming from a primary misuse of science, an implantation of a holographic type of fear-driven, terrorizing program they don't even know is there, that misdirects their decision-making on Earth. I mean everyone on Earth. Religious leaders, political leaders, military, it doesn't matter. They are not running of free will on this planet, not yet. Because people running free will are co-creators with the source behind all life. And this is actually what our destiny is. So, secondary implants are not in the body, the brain, or under the skin. They are in a huge electromagnetic field, what people on Earth call the aura. They think it's just some little bunch of collars near the surface of the body. It's not. It's much bigger than that. And it is an electromagnetic field made of the hue itself, the pure source energy that surrounds your physical body and that surrounds you, the Atma, hovering above it, where you are right now. You are not now, nor have you ever been, a physical body. That's news to people on this planet, because they still think that soul is mixed up in their brain or is tucked away in their back pocket. They don't know what it is. They pray to a divine spirit, but they don't really know what it is they're praying to. When you look out in space, all that black area out there that shows up in a Hubble Space Telescope image only appears black to the limitations of human eyes, two-stranded DNA humans on Earth. They can't see very much into the higher frequencies. So it appears black. But when you're out of your body as the spherical Atma with all those layers in it of higher faculty comprehension ability, you see it as a white golden light everywhere. And suns and planets and moons and stars are floating in it, creating these electromagnetic fields that allow them to hover in place. That's divine spirit. But it doesn't want us to worship it. The source behind all life never requested that we worship it. No, what is required is that we know it personally, respect it and each other. That's it. That is divine love. It isn't what people on Earth think it is. It's simpler than that and more honest and direct. When you imagine someone you love and respect, you're grateful they are in your life, a person, place, or thing, it just needs to be something that when you imagine it, you smile inside. It can be anything. Baby's face, a little puppy or kitty, a bird, a waterfall, a beach, another planet, another galaxy, people from other worlds, whatever you're aware of. And that opens a doorway through the pineal gland in the center of the brain. Connects a kind of a white golden shaft of light, an energy beam, from the white core of your being hovering above the body to the body itself. With your eyes closed, it shuts off that part of the brain that tic-tacs and picks up energy and information from the atmosphere. The problem with the atmosphere of Earth is simple. Every mean, nasty thing done by people to people and people to animals and animals to each other and trees and plants and water, everything is recorded in the atmosphere of the planet. Going back 65 million years since the dinosaurs were made extinct and then people were brought here from other worlds. No human being ever evolved on this planet originally. Which means, as dumbed down as people are, they don't even know they're extraterrestrial. There's all these races represented on Earth and not one of them evolved here. African American people come from Saturn and other planets out in the galaxy. Caucasian people somewhere else, more like Pleiadian. Asian people come from other star systems. They come from all over, thrown together in a big soup, made unconscious and made to forget, and then everybody's just at each other. This is not normal. There's nothing normal about it. When people think they're the center of attention of God on Earth in some kind of elite group, they do this because they're afraid to actually meet their Creator or what they consider to be the Creator face to face. They're terrified of it. They think they're going to get a pitchfork and sent to hell if they don't do just the right thing that someone tells them is the right thing. It's got nothing to do with the source at all. It's created by tyrant kings controlling priests. Thousands of years of it. And that kind of technology and misuse of technology did not get created on Earth. It was imported here from other worlds. So it's important to know this when you're waking up. Because if you don't know it, you're not going to. Once the hue reveals certain things to you that you once knew effortlessly and confidently, it cannot be reversed. The hue begins to connect to you and sees you as potential to go back home and be a co-creator with the source behind all life, because that is what our destiny and purpose for existing is. It's pretty great. People on Earth are going to go through quite some, I don't want to say shocks, but quite some shocking experiences in a way, when they find out just how more advanced life, even human, is on other worlds. And how much we have to catch up with them. It takes respect. Those people would give us the technology, cures for diseases and everything else, but people on Earth and governments are too selfish, fear-driven, and they're paranoid to invite such beings onto this earth because they think like, they think adversarially, that we've got to fight the bad commies, we've got to fight the United States versus China or Russia or something like this. That's all man-made. It's nonsense, all of it. None of it has any justifiable truth in it whatsoever. So, even the most classified people on earth know this now. It's not a mystery to them. They're just scared to get off the lie they've perpetuated for 70-some years. I don't blame them. What was done to them was done to them before it was done to you. So you can't really blame them. They want to get free too. I've met classified people, believe me, and they don't want to be doing what they're doing any more than we want them to. It's just a bad habit. And now they're going to have to get off of it or it'll be done for them. That's why this work is on this planet at this time. Believe me when I tell you, it took more than one lifetime and this entire lifetime for me to prepare just to begin to do this work. That should be respected, because then a person's respecting their own true nature. It's important. Fear will misdirect people to do all kinds of screwball things. When you imagine being near the ceiling, all you're doing is daydreaming. Everybody daydreams. It's easy. It's effortless. You imagine going to the store. People are mistrained by people who are also misdirected to think that that's coming from your brain somewhere. There's no science on earth that's ever proven that imagination comes from any part of the brain. They just theorize it. There's no camera in part of the brain cells that can project an image onto other brain cells, like a motion picture screen. The brain is not designed to do that. That's not what it's for. When you imagine something, unbeknownst to people, is the white core of your being, which is spherical, is looking out into the hue energy everywhere and seeing what you want to see. If you want to go to the store, you imagine going to the store and the body follows. But you aren't the body. So you imagine going to the store, then the body just follows where you direct it. In like manner, when you imagine going out among the stars and going to other galaxies and going to other dimensions and meeting master teachers and meeting Ambassador Trellian, that's just using your imagination in ways that you aren't taught to do when you're growing up. This turns on higher faculties because it takes higher faculties to imagine in that way. So these journeys outside of Earth's negatively impacted atmosphere, we go out into the pure hue. You cannot store negative things out in space. That energy there is not nuclear or atomic. It's a white golden light everywhere, and it's a living consciousness. It's like it's not an individual. It's an omnipresent living energy that comes from the source, and we are at the source right now, never left. We are multidimensional capable beings. What people call soul is not some vague thing that looks like transparent like a human body. That's just the astral body. It's spherical. Planets and moons and suns and stars are round because they're made after the image of their creators or creator, whatever you want to put it. When you imagine being above, near the ceiling of your room where you are, looking down on your body, that's just daydreaming. Couldn't be easier. It's just, it doesn't have to be perfectly clear like vivid colors. You just know it. It's a knowing seeing. When you imagine being at 10,000 meters in the atmosphere, which you're doing right now, Shantial and Tonaltial are a man and a woman from another world system far away, part of the Galactic Alliance, master teachers, and greatly trained in higher technology than you can even comprehend. This man and this woman that look to be about 36, they're showing you a human form standing beside you right now. Maybe about 6 feet, 5'11", 6 feet tall. Long hair to their shoulders. Slightly larger eyes than humans on Earth. Beautiful. Flawless bodies. And above them is the spherical being they are. And above you is the spherical being you are. And above the physical body sitting there is a body you're showing them, which you know how to do, that looks to be about 36, a woman, flawless, perfect, beautiful in every way, just like them. It's the energy form equivalent of a human form that we choose to show each other when we're out there among the stars, etc. When you're in the atmosphere at 10,000 meters, you look down on your roof. You can look right down through it and see you're hovering near the ceiling. You're hovering up at 10,000 meters with Chantiel and Tonaltiel as well. You're in both places at the same moment. You are, and the Atma is not, limited to time and space, gravity, or the speed of light. There is no such thing as a limit to the speed of light. They got that all backwards on Earth, because people determine it by using their physical eyes to determine 286,000 miles in a second. That's as fast as you can go, so it'll take billions of years for us to get to other worlds. And them, no, it doesn't. It doesn't take billions of years for light from other galaxies to reach us. It's instantaneous. The limits are only the limits of physical perception in human bodies. Outside of the body, there are no such limits. Advanced races know how to work with that one energy, that omnipresent, non-nuclear, non-atomic energy. First half of the word, human, hu, connects us through the pineal gland to the omnipresent power, and we really start to unravel the tight knots of unconsciousness. That's when that happens. Imagination is not making up something as in fantasy in your brain. As I've already explained, the brain does not imagine anything. You do. When you can imagine seeing how to be, not only out in space, but on these group journeys in the higher worlds above the void, co-creating with Source. And that's exactly what you're doing when you're going through it. This is really fascinating and of interest to me, because I know that people have this potential and they haven't got a clue that they do. We are meant to go to the source and download all we've learned in billions of years to help it change. And people have not been returning. This is a big problem, because it's stultified or stilted or stuck, what you call prime creator. Much of it is divided into individual drops of individuality all over the multiverse. The real purpose for our existing is to go back to that source, while living out a more balanced physical life, a more uplifted and enlightened life along the way. This is the way. Each person watching an individual path within the golden light and sound of the hue itself. Your path is not my path. My path is not your path. They're on the same hue, but it's unique to your own character and background and experience. And you co-create your own way back home. The primary implant will be removed and dealt with by you, working with beings I will connect you to tonight, that will get rid of the secondary implants in the way. When you imagine you're in space, you're suddenly there. You're in outer space, out in that cold void, but you don't feel cold or heat. There's no radiation from the sun that affects you. You are this spiritual energy that is not made of nuclear material or radioactive material or atomic material. It's no DNA. It's not molecules. It's not atoms. It's the energy behind that. And so when you're in space, finding that you're standing in a circle of beings around Ambassador Turellian, he's showing you a body form 18 feet tall, because that's what his body was like 1 billion years ago on another galaxy, before their entire race immortalized their physical bodies in a very unique manner. They evolved to the point where they simply undid the DNA, 12-stranded DNA, and stored it in one of the teardrops in the first layer around the white core in a yellow teardrop, one faculty. So when they want to manifest a physical body you could go up and touch or show it to you if they have any need, they'll draw on the omnipresent hue around them, fill a body, manifest it, carry out a mission, and then put it back and store it. They don't have the burden of pushing around a physical body, feeding it, and going to the bathroom. Ambassador Turelian serves in the center of the focus of these journeys because he's willing to, because it's effortless for him. He doesn't work in time and space. He's out in space, but not part of space, and neither are we. That space, that blackness, is a white golden light to you out here everywhere. The billions of stars in our galaxies are clearly visible, and it's this other energy behind and surrounding them that they float in. It's a huge field of energy, infinitely vast compared to the little tiny galaxies that float in it. And then it goes up through the dimensions, all the way past the void, further up into the very source itself. The void is not the realm of the Supreme Being. It's just a pure hue barrier between the lower worlds of time and space and the upper realities that we came from. We're supposed to know this stuff. Nobody teaches this on Earth. Not this way. Not yet. The gurus don't even know it. You got to know what's above the void to do this, or you don't know it. You can't share it. So, what I endeavor to share with people, I do because I know they already know this down deep. It's not something I'm giving them they don't have. It's something I'm helping them recover. As each person begins to let go of their attachment, their addiction to fear, every other faculty that they ever had begins to turn back on. These journeys out among the stars and other dimensions are guided by beings who respect each other, who have earned this right, and who trust each other. And then that kind of guidance can take place. And when these secondary implants are removed by Chantal and Tonichal are still standing beside you. It's a joy and effortless for them. They grow up on planets with, the time they're 10, they have the equivalent of 10 PhDs to a person on Earth. 10! They live thousands of years if they want to. Their DNA, the telomeres on the DNA, do not shrink when the cells divide. That's a perverted misuse of some kind of nonsense that happened to the twin-stranded genetic structure on people on Earth, and that was shut down. They're just switches. Genomes on DNA are just switches. If you know the frequency of those switches, you can turn them off and on. Now, obviously, something like that, if you're unconscious, can be abusive. So people on Earth are not living properly. They believe they are, but somewhere down deep they know they're not. So you've had the courage to step forward despite what was done to you. I had to do the same thing. Pari did as well. And that's to be admired, respected. When you're out in space, you can see Turelian standing there 18 foot tall with his two thumbs up, golden white light around him. He's bringing an energy of the hue from, if you look way up in space, you'll see Satnam hovering up there in a doorway, an opening, a funnel, up to another reality, past the lower worlds of time and space. Coming from the realm we call the Atma plane, which is the first major creation above the void itself. It's extremely rare for this guy to even come down here, much less hang out with us. So something has changed in creation that was not there before, didn't exist before, and it's moving in one direction only. It cannot be reversed. Pari's here to the left of me. I'm to the right of you. Chantal and Tonalty are standing beside you in space. You can see the Atmas hovering above them. And you realize, you look at your hands and you go, oh, I'm showing them the same kind of 36-year-old perfect woman, too. And you're the same Atma. They respect that in you, even before you respect it in yourself. They have a function of keeping your secondary implants turned off and your primary implants turned off with your sleeping body back on Earth. They do this so you can enjoy an expanded awareness and regain a knowing kind of what's going on. The body you have made of energy, it's not physical matter, it's not DNA, has eyes that can see objectively what's going to happen to you, the Atma, the spherical you. It has a huge electromagnetic field around it. Down on Earth, you have the same field around your body, and there are 3 oval-shaped white lights in different places in a triangular pattern out in that field of energy, not in the atma. The atma is a pure energy. You can't implant negative things in it. But you can put programs outside of through which you look to see the universe in a distorted way. Fearful, torture, death. If you ever try to remember, we're going to eat you alive kind of stuff. Secondary implants are not your own experiences. You don't need to know what's in them. It's junk. When they're turned on by negative things in the atmosphere of Earth and stimulated, they play over your nervous system like a recording. And then people subconsciously make the wrong decisions throughout their lives. The primary implant cannot be taken out on Earth. The secondary implants cannot be removed by anybody on the planet. No matter what anybody says, they cannot. The atmosphere is too negative. It's too full. It's beautiful. It's got waterfalls and birds and oceans. But in it is recorded every negative thing that was ever done to anybody by anybody else. Still in the atmosphere. And that atmosphere needs to be thoroughly vacuumed, cleaned. It isn't yet. On a normal world, the ocean should have a glowing charged light a foot above the ocean itself. Except in the equator, the Earth's oceans are depleted of the life force. This is a problem for people. The moon that circles the Earth does not turn on its axis. This is virtually impossible. The gravity of the Earth, the sun, the other planets would affect it. It would turn some way. But this moon does not. Something was done to it. And that has to be corrected, and that's in process. So out here in space, when you look out in space further, you're this sphere hovering above the body. There's Chantil and Tonaltil, they're pointing out there, and you see this 30-foot diameter, saucer-shaped Scout class vehicle. It's got 3 semi-ferric pods on the bottom, has a blue anti-gravitic light around it, and it's transparent because you can see through it. You're an Atma. And you see 4 couples inside that ship. 3 standing behind a semicircular control console with crystalline controls that are lit up. They're touch sensitive. And another couple sitting in the back like on a long couch-like thing with their heads tucked, apparently asleep. And then you realize you can see them. That's Chantil and Tonaltil standing out of their bodies beside you so they can do this work. It is not done in the body. It cannot be done on Earth. It has to be done by beings who do not have a subconscious mind, were not born on the planet, and do not have implants. If you want to get it done, it's got to be done out here by them. I don't do it. So I want to make that clear. When you see this big electromagnetic field of energy of the hue circling the Atma, okay, there's a triangular pattern of these white, like luminous areas, oval, connected together in a triangle. In your case, they're level with the core of your being. They're not in the Atma, not in the outer golden layer. They're outside of it, connected in some way to the nervous system back on Earth, so that when one of these turns on, it keeps you from remembering everything, basically. It makes you afraid to know who you are and what your relationship is with Source and what your destiny is. It stops all that. This was done through the misuse of science by tyrants at the end of a galactic war in our galaxy that ended over 500,000 years ago, and the bad guys lost. But if you know anything about bad guys, they sneak around the Cold War and capture people when they're not looking, stuff them in a body on Earth with no memory, just for kicks. That's been stopped. None of them are in our solar system anymore. The effects are there, but they are not. The poles of Earth used to flip overnight every 100,000 years. We had what's called a golden age to an iron age and back again, like a yo-yo. All life on the surface is destroyed. It happens overnight in 24 hours. Continents sink, oceans rise up with new land masses. It's violent. And this was created by an imbalance that was created in our solar system several million years ago. There are beings who run the mechanics of creation. They have permanently ended the polar flips of this planet, or we would have already gone through it. We wouldn't be having this conversation. So that's one good thing. This energy is moving now in one direction only and cannot be reversed. And it is moving through our solar system right now. So disclosure is part of that. Out in the electromagnetic field, you can see this oval white energy, and Chantel and Tonaltil are moving you're right between them, up to it. And they're going to reach in with their hands, effortlessly pull this thing out of your electromagnetic field. And then they're going to smooth over that hole, and then they're going to hold it up together and show it to you. Now this, when you see these things in them, they always appear to be some beautiful something. They could be a doll or a pet or a dog or a cat or a bird or an alien animal or a dolphin or a whale or a pyramid or waterfall or another planet, many things. They're unique to each individual. So they're showing you what's in this first secondary implant. The primary implant is like a pyramid-shaped thing on the top north pole and one pointing down on the southern pole of the electromagnetic field that surrounds the atma, not in the atma. Implants are not in the atma. And when you look into it, they're kind of turning it on without it affecting you. Because the image is pleasant, but the effect on you on Earth is negative. Okay? So, this is a scene of what looks to be like an African prairie. There's a jungle in the distance. Could be the Amazon. It could be the jungle of Congo in Africa. But this is a long time ago, long before recorded history as you know it. And the animals are grazing. You're sitting in a kind of a disc. It's luminous, and you're levitating 4 feet off the ground on this device. It's a long time ago. And this is actually back in Lemriel, over 100,000 years ago, when the poles were different. So this is an implant they used some beautiful part of your past existence against you. And you're just happy as a lamb. You're like a 16-year-old girl. And you lived several thousand years even then, so 16 is relative. In behind this beautiful scene, you see our one sun up there. Our torture, death, negative stuff, threats, I'll kill you, we'll eat you, we'll torture you if you try to remember who you are. It's just a program. We don't care what's in it. It's garbage. So now, Chantal and Tony Tall are simply levitating it. They're just using their energy, their conscious will. And they're moving up above our heads. And then they're just shrinking it down to a pinpoint. And then it vanishes. There's a bright flash of white golden light. It becomes part of the hue around us. It's been returned to pure hue energy. And that implant is gone, which means the other two are turned off permanently. There's one over to the right, out 2/3 out of the electromagnetic field, away from the last layer of the atma. And they go over there and you move over with them. You are a sphere hovering above your body. Tonal Tial reaches in and simply lifts it out effortlessly. Remember, these fingers of the human are energy. This is pure hue energy, and it has mastery over negative things, which is this is negative. And then Chantial smooths over the opening, so it's a nice smooth electromagnetic field. And then they show it to you. They let it hover in the air in front of you. When you look into it, you're looking at an emerald green beach. It's glowing, a foot above the sand. It's a half-moon base shaped, and there are these exotic jungle trees. They look like trees from Earth, but they're kind of glowing. This is not Earth. This planet has charge in the water and on the planet. There's no negativity in its atmosphere. It comes from your journey in a life on another world far away from Earth, long ago. Well, not that long ago. Not too far before you were interfered with and put on this planet in a body with no memory, like everyone else. And this green beach seems familiar to you. The energy that is charging this beach comes from the higher worlds, and you remember it. In that lifetime, you were just beginning to remember this. There's a man and a woman standing to each side of you that look to be about 36, probably your parents, smiling. This was a good life. Behind this scene, because when you look at it, it looks like it's from Lemuria, which it is, but it's also reminiscent of a planet you came from when you came to Earth at that time. Now, in it is this death, torture, terrible stuff, kill you, eat you, all that nonsense. So Shantiel and Tonatiel, because they know that you've given them the permission to do this, are simply going to, you'll see Shantiel just start whirling his finger like this, and Tonatiel does the same, and this thing starts spinning around the center, this oval light field, until it just comes apart and disintegrates into the hue around us. There's one more. It's on the other side of the electromagnetic field, further out towards space, on the other side of the atma. So we're all there. Pari's there. I'm there. Torellian's moving around. We're just watching this. Very fascinating. And on the other side is another one of these white images. And they ask you to reach in your hand with this energy hand you have that looks like you and gently lift it out. So you're learning how to do this kind of thing. And then you hand it to them. And they're going to do the actual disintegration of this thing. But first they want you to see what's in it. And why it is if you happen to come across these things, you wouldn't want to get rid of them. Very diabolical. You don't want them there. No. The experiences you had, sure, but misuse of them this way? No. As you're looking into this thing, you become aware that you are on a ship. You're on the bridge of like a 10-mile long cylindrical craft. It's like the one in the ice rings of Saturn, the Emerald Star Cruiser. It's manned by Galactic Alliance personnel. They always have master teachers aboard whenever they go out in space. Much more advanced than masters you might think of as master teachers on Earth, because they didn't grow up on Earth. And so you're looking out this bridge window, and you're sitting at a control console. There are many people on this bridge area, and you can see this wide panorama of curved windows. And you're looking out at this beautiful world. It's water covered. There's no polar ice caps, and there's some little islands around the equator. It's got 3 moons circling at different distances, the size of Earth, with no polar ice caps. And in the distance you can see, because you are an atma hovering out of the body even then, you can see 3 suns. It's a trinary sun system. And by the way, most suns beyond Earth in the Milky Way galaxy are binary 2 or trinary. This is known on Earth. Big white blue giant, youngest star. Big yellow sun, bigger than our Earth, our sun, the sun around our solar system. And then either a red giant or a red dwarf, an older star. And basically these are revolving around each other with planets revolving around them. And much more evolved genetic life, human and otherwise, evolves on planets with 3 suns, by the way. They should teach this in astronomy and astrophysics, but they don't know this that much yet. They just know they're binary and trinary, but they don't know that it has this effect. We have 1 smaller sun and a dead moon. Not right at all. It's better to have no moon or at least more than 2. It creates a balance in how it pulls on the water in our bodies, which is H2O, and the water in the oceans. Hydrogen and oxygen are gases until they're put together, and then it's water. Water is a telepathic medium. Some shamans, some people know how to communicate through large bodies of water and talk to people on other planets. This is the kind of science that Earth people need to become aware of. Some people are making headway into this area. So here's this beautiful scene on a ship. It happens to be one of the bigger Galactic Alliance ships. This was a great time for you. You lived a long time in that form. And so it was used against you. Chantel and Tonaltial are just going to breathe a breath of white golden light out of their mouths and disintegrate it. And they start jumping up and down and laughing like kids. The energy released from these things is great. And it's very uplifting for them to do it. They aren't motivated by money or power or fame or fortune. Are you kidding? They grew up on worlds where their governments are benevolent. They grew up on worlds where money's illegal. They grew up on worlds being motivated from childhood to create new ways of doing things for hundreds of millions of worlds. That's the Galactic Alliance, more than 450 million spacefaring races. It's headquartered on a planet called Zetranami 1 near the galactic core of this galaxy. It's a trinary sun system. UFO and extraterrestrial communities and that don't know about this yet. They will. Too many are caught up in promoting fear along with what they're trying to do that's good. It's because of subconscious stuff that's still influencing them. But they're trying to do good work. When you look at Turellian, he's giving you kind of a quirky smile. Chantiel and Tonaltiel are just standing beside you. Pari's over there smiling. I'm over to the right smiling. Et and Din, their drans are silica-based. 3 feet long, they're hovering above Turellian's head. They're the most courageous, fun. I love those guys. I've known them for over 100,000 years. Et and Din. They're master teachers. When I knew them 100,000 years ago in Lemuria, when I came here from another world, they were not master teachers. They are now. The bodies they're showing you exist on Oceania. That's on the other side of the galaxy. It's a water-covered world. Little islands near the equator. They live in these hollowed-out, volcanic, emptied-out chutes or chambers that go up to the islands there, emptied out hundreds of millions of years ago, and they're self-contained ecosystems. You want to read about them and explore where you come into this? Read The Emerald Doorway. First book of the Parallel Time Trilogy. These books contain information and exploration, doorway opening experiences. It could not be made up by me on Earth with a little pea brain and personality I grew up with here. I was stuffed into this body when it was 3 and made unconscious like everyone else. I came here as an ambassador. I'm now in process with others of finishing this mission so many decades later. Never give up. There's several dozen other master teachers, men and women, alternating in a circle around us. These are beings from different parts of the galaxy and some different dimensions that go on a journey with us when we go on the group journeys to Satnam's realm, above the void, the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, and further. We either go and see this stuff and remember how to do it, or we don't wake up. So, when you see yourself now hovering above your body back on Earth, you can see this electromagnetic field around that body. What was in it that matched what was around you out in space is gone. Those secondary implants are gone forever, permanent. They cannot be returned to you. And the Hue protects you now with beings who work with you every night when you're out of your body. So this kind of thing can never be done to you again. This kind of thing is being undone. This, this white golden light comes down through the electromagnetic field surrounding the atma, through the white core of your being, down through the pineal gland, the center of the brain, out through the electromagnetic field that surrounds your body, and out into space, out into the world, into three pyramids on Earth, two in the bottom of Earth's deepest oceans, one in a hollow interior in a mountain in the Himalayas, out to a bigger one between two stable asteroids, in the asteroid field between Mars and Jupiter that's hovering there. People on Earth, U.S. Space Force, they don't know what to do with it. They can't affect it in any way. And it goes out to other pyramids, and eventually it goes to the center of the white golden light shaft that runs up and down the center of the Milky Way galaxy, and then it's returned to source. And it never stops. It goes through you for your benefit. So you are now a co-creator with source in this way. And it goes back to source and returns back down here, and it's moving in one direction through our galaxy and others. So when you're ready, open your eyes.
It's wonderful experience. It's just so life-changing.
You're very welcome. It's a rarity and it's a privilege. I don't see that I'm seeing Sat Nam hang out with us is just like it's a first.
It is
Never
indescribable.
he never did it before in my history that I've ever known. And it started when I crossed the void and befriended him. I didn't put him on a pedestal and worship him. There's the difference. I respected him. I knew who he was. And so I walked with him and we talked. It's very different than what people think. You meet some of the beings you meet beings from the higher realities beyond his realm, same thing. Otherwise they'll scare you to death because they're just so beyond people on Earth.
I'm just so happy.
This is good because what was done for you, and I would encourage you to go on a group journey because the same beings are going to be met there, and they'll continue to work with you every night when you're out of your body. If you put a little effort in, a little hue, and ask these names, people you've been introduced to, ask them to help you, and then they'll bring you to a point where you can not only see what's in the primary implant safely, but have it removed. That is between you and them.
Thank you.
Okay?
I have one question that if I don't mind,
Sure,
don't mind asking.
Sure, what?
I'm getting ready to take a trip to state, and I like to practice my hue. How do I do it while I'm surrounded with people?
Silently inside.
Okay, that's what I did when 2 weeks ago, I have my tooth implant. And so that's what
because
got me through.
It's the thing. It's what's really doing the hue is not your vocal cords. Yes, that uses vocal cords, but it's the hue that the atma is emanating through the vocal cords so that I can guide you. Because
I didn't know that, but that's what I did.
When I'm on these journeys, I'm out of my body's asleep. But I'm consciously out helping you guys with other people. Okay, so it does the same thing. And you can do a hue silently inside and pay attention to your surroundings so you don't walk in front of a bus, for instance. Yes. And you'll find that it will make life more practical and more expansive. As the secondary implants are gone, you're going to find that your IQ, your intelligence is going to go up.
I can feel already that even before this experience that my conscious and everything is more clear.
It's in your, I can see it in the energy in your face and around your body too. You're going to find that it's like this stuff when you go on these journeys, like, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, that's common sense. Yeah, I get that. That's higher faculties turning on, see? The atma, not the brain. It's got nothing to do with the brain.
Yes. Thank you so much. I really.
And when you're alone by yourself, you can do it out loud.
Okay.
It works the same whether it's silent, it's telepathic, or out loud.
Okay.
So if it's going to bother some people that are really devout something or other, then you don't want to do it in front of them. You just do it silently. It'll still be a benefit to them without you saying a word.
Thank you.
It's pretty cool.
I,
You're very
I
welcome.
will. I
Okay.
really appreciate.
Oh, my pleasure. You know, we're moving away from these one-on-one journeys because they can't expand into the world. There's not enough lifetime in us to do thousands of people that way.
I
So
just
these are
very
fortunate
privileged.
times. For me too. Yes, for me too.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
Onward and upward.